All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to break down a framework that is completely changing the game for how people build things online. We're talking about a path from, well, zero, all the way to Architect, a way you can create real, working tech products without having to write a single line of code in the traditional sense. So let me just ask you this. What if you could build an app without writing any code? What if the only skill you really needed was being able to give clear instructions, just using plain English? I know, it sounds a little bit like science fiction, but it is actually happening right now. And today, we're going to look at the exact blueprint for how it's done. So here's our game plan, our roadmap for what we're calling the builder's journey. First, we're going to start with the most important part, the mindset. Then we'll get into the fun stuff, designing and building with AI. After that, we're going to demystify the backend, connect all the pieces together, and finally show you how it all culminates in what you could literally call a weekend startup. Okay, first things first, the architect's mindset. And I'm telling you, this is probably the most crucial step of the entire process. Before you even think about touching a tool, you have to shift the way you think, from being a searcher who just looks for answers to being a manager who runs a powerful system.
This right here breaks it down perfectly. The old way, you're a searcher. You go to Google and ask a basic question like, what is a website? You're just a consumer of information. The new way, you're a manager. You give specific commands like, build me a website with these exact features. You see the difference? You're not just finding things anymore, you are creating new things. You're the one in the driver's seat.
Okay, so how do you actually do that? How do you become a manager? Well, you use a framework, and this is your new secret weapon, the RCTC framework. It stands for Role, Context, Task, and Constraint. It is a super simple but incredibly powerful way to structure how you talk to an AI. You tell it its role, give it the context it needs, define the specific task you want done, and then set the constraints, or the rules of the game. This is how you give commands that actually work. And all of that mindset and that framework, it fits right into this larger, 6-phase journey. You've just learned about phase 1, the foundation. Next up, we'll see how you use that foundation to create the visual architecture. Then you become the builder. Then you define the logic, automate the system, and finally pull it all together in the capstone. This is the complete map, from idea to launch.
All right, let's jump into phase 2, visual architecture. This is where your idea stops being just a thought in your head and starts to take on a real, visible shape. We're turning ideas into actual designs, and it's all driven by prompts.
And this is where it starts to get really, really cool. We're not just talking about asking for a nice-looking button. You are literally commanding an AI to map out the entire sitemap and user flow for your app, and then generate wireframes for it directly inside a tool like Figma. I mean, think about that for a second. That's absolutely revolutionary. It takes the time between idea and a professional prototype from weeks, maybe months, down to minutes.
And now, for the part that honestly just feels like magic. Phase 3, the builder. This is where we take that beautiful design we just made and turn it into a working website, a real front end. And yeah, you guessed it, we're going to do it using plain English.
Just look at this prompt. It's not code. It's just a simple, clear instruction. And with tools like Cursor, which are AI native code editors, you can feed it something just like this, and poof, it generates the code for you. The huge insight here is that the barrier to entry isn't knowing HTML or CSS anymore. The real skill is knowing how to clearly describe what you want.
Okay, let's talk about the backend. I know. This is usually the part where people get scared off and their eyes glaze over. But we're going to reframe it. Forget backend. This is phase 4, the logic. It's not about complicated servers and databases. It's just about setting up the rules and the data for your app. You're going to see words like JSON thrown around, and it's easy to get intimidated. But seriously, just forget the jargon. It's a shopping list. That's it. It's just a really organized way to write down information, like a user's name or their email or what they bought, so that all the different parts of your app can understand it. It's just the language they use to talk to each other.
And this right here is the absolute key. This is what you need to remember. Your job as the architect is not to be down in the weeds writing out this shopping list line by line. Your job is to understand what needs to be on the list and then tell the AI to generate it for you. You're still the manager, you're just managing data now.
Okay, phase 5, the Automator. We've got our design, we've built the front end, and we've structured the data. Now we got to connect all the dots and make the whole thing, actually do something on its own. This is where you really start thinking like an architect, building systems. You can use awesome tools like Make or Zapier to create these simple little recipes. So, when a user submits a form on your site, the data automatically gets saved, a welcome email instantly goes out to them, and you get a little notification. You've basically built a little automated engine that works for you 24/7, and you haven't touched a single server. It's incredible. And here we are, the final phase, and definitely the most exciting one. Phase 6, the Capstone. This is where everything, the mindset, the design, the build, the logic, the automation, it all comes together to create a real product, something you can actually launch.
So let's just recap the entire workflow right here. You design using prompts in Figma. You build using prompts in Cursor. You automate all the connections with Make, and then you launch. I mean, just let that sink in. You can go from a simple idea to a live, working product, maybe in a weekend. That's the new reality. That's the power we're talking about.
That's it. 6. Just 6 clear, manageable phases. Building a real tech product isn't some chaotic, impossible mountain to climb anymore. It's a structured process. It's a roadmap that pretty much anyone with a clear idea can now follow.
So we'll end on this. This framework, it's the blueprint. It's a whole new way of creating things, where the real bottleneck isn't your coding ability anymore. It's your ability to think clearly and give great instructions. The tools are here. You have the blueprint. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build first?